Good afternoon to each and everyone present today. The topic of today's meeting is going to be strategic development demo, which has been hosted by AlgoBulls along with Quant. On this meeting today, on our panel, we have our members, team members, which are Mr. Rishabh Kashyap sir, who is product manager. Along with him, we also have Mr. Akhil Jain, who is a lead developer and a strategist. And along with him, we have the team of Quant Insider. And along with him, we also have a special guest today, which is Mr. Tribhuvan Bise, the founder of Quant Insider as well. So the meeting and the topic of this meeting basically is to develop an entire strategy in AlgoBulls, which will be explained and will be developed and deployed as a demo by Mr. Akhil Jain today in this meeting. So without any further ado, let's just start and let's get back to the development process. So Mr. Akhil, will you please continue?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi. Hi, Tribhuvanji. Hi, Nakshatraji. Hi, Monishji. Thanks for joining, Rishabh. And Yash, thank you for introducing. I'll start by sharing my screen, of course. And while I'm doing that, I would like to understand from everyone here as to what all have you explored and on AlgoBulls as of yet. If anything, please let me know right now. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes. So, Tribhuvanji, Nakshatraji, Monishji, have you seen the screen? Have you interacted with the AlgoBulls website?
Yeah, we have interacted with the platform, the whole platform, like from Copilot to self code, everything.
Right. So once we log in on the AlgoBulls website, you can see I've logged in here. What I've done is I've gone to this topic here, which is Phoenix, and in that I can see one of them as explore the ready templates. So I've clicked on choose, and this is where I've landed right now. What I would like to do is go ahead and open one of these templates. What will happen is you will see the Python code in these templates, and I would like to start and explain the architecture of how we create algorithms, that is strategies, at AlgoBulls. I would like you to interrupt me in case you have any questions, because that would be the best way to make sure that whatever I have to say to you is well received and well taken. So please ask your doubts. This will hardly take me 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So yes, we should still go in depth. So your questions will help me to explain more. So right now you can see that there are almost 4 pages here, each page having almost 8 strategies or something. You can see some of them are named as options, and you can see one of them here, which is not named as options. So these are generally used as equity strategies. If I scroll to page 2, you would still see some more strategies. Some of them have the suffix called as US. So these are specific strategies which take US equities as input, and we are able to run those also. We are able to backtest those also. So some of them are US based, some of them are crossover based, some of them are options, some of them are just equities. You can see the US ones are equities also because options prefix is not mentioned on these strategies. I'll not scroll much, so I'll just go to page 3 and we'll stop here. So what I'm going to do is choose one of them. Let's say EMA crossover. This is the one I'm going to choose. So what I'll say is code, and this will open the code here. I'll just skip this. This is the code. Right now, my understanding is that the architecture of the code is important for you, and you will be able to start coding on your own once you understand this architecture. So I have minimized all the code so that I can focus on the methods first, and I can explain this whole architecture as, as an overview first, and then we can go in depth. So this is what I'm trying to do now. One of the first things that we should notice is the name. The name is EMA regular order, and this is created as a class. So in a class, one of the first methods is init. And any strategy, any algorithm that we are creating, we need to have some parameters which we can change and keep testing the strategy again and again. In the case of EMA, As an example, we can say that in init, we need two parameters, that is time period 1 and time period 2. So this is what we are focusing on. And such parameters will take them from outside, which will be accepted here into these variables. And the strategy will work on those two values. Now, let's say we want to change the values, we'll change those. In this case, we don't have to change the code. That's the beauty of this because we are accepting these from outside. So if today the values are, let's say, 7 and 12, but just after this particular run is complete, I would like to change the values. So let's say 15 and 27, and I'd again like to test what happens. Then this helps us to do that. So the init method is the method where we are expecting as well as accepting parameters from outside. Where are these parameters given? So these are given here in the tweak strategy panel. I'll show them. I'll show the panel to you in some time. Let me just continue with the architecture. So this was the first part. The smaller part of this same method is that we always need variables in a particular code, in a particular program. So I'm taking a variable here called as main order value. What I'm just going to do is store my order here and use it for entry, exit, and other things. So as of now, I've just set it to nothing. Now we understand the benefit of back testing our code. We understand the benefit that if we have written something, we have created an algorithm, we would like to backtest it against some data and see what happens. So let's say, just for an example, you want to run this particular code for 5 minutes, for 5 days, I'm so sorry. What I want is this particular variable, I want to clean it up every day. So this initialize method helps me to do that. I'll repeat in a slightly different manner. Let's say this whole code I'm running for 5 days. In that case, init gets called only once, but initialize will get called at the start of those 5 days. So let's say, I'm so sorry. Let's say for running this particular code for 5 days, I'll take, let's say, 1.5 minutes. This code takes about 90 seconds to 100 seconds to finish running. It's running for 5 days. It's back tested for 5 days. It's executing for 5 days. So for each of those days, it will clean up this variable for me. That's all this means. So I'll just repeat. The init method is used to accept any parameters that we want from outside, as well as start our variables, just mention our variables. And initialize is used for cleaning up because we are back testing for several days. So we need to clean it up every time at the start of every day. In that case, we are doing that. Now, apart from init and initialize, which are mandatory methods, we have four other methods: entry, two of them, and exit, two of them. So in this one, we just select whatever we want for entry. And in this one, we just select whatever we want for exit. Based on that selection, we'll either place the order, which is this one, or we'll exit the order, which is this one. So let's say here in the tweak panel, if you give me five instruments, let's say SBI, Tata Motors, Maruti, and some other two, what will happen is, I'll just open this one now, the first one. What will happen is those five will come here in the instruments bucket. So again, this is a good thing. Just like we are accepting parameters from outside, we are also accepting instruments from outside. So today I want to try on one instrument, tomorrow I want to try on 20. I can give those 20 instruments there. What will happen is I'll get those instruments here in a bucket. And what I want to do is, based on my logic, I either want to select them because I want to enter something, or I want to skip them for this particular candle. Again, the candle is also given here in the tweak, and based on whatever is the candle duration, these four methods will be called for every candle. Let's say the candle is 5 minutes. So these four will be called at 9:15. Then again, these four will be called at 9:20 and again 9:45 and so on. And what we need to do is just keep in mind that these methods are being called again and again and apply our logic inside them as required. So I'll just repeat a small part again. Let's say we have 20 instruments. Those 20 instruments will come in this bucket. And what I want to do is select those for placing an order. It could be a buy order, it could be a sell order, depending on what I want my algorithm to do. So I have 20 here. So obviously there will be a loop. And in this loop, I'm going to decide whether that particular instrument gets selected or not. For this particular strategy, since it's a EMA crossover strategy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate the crossover based on whether it cut upwards or it cut downwards or it doesn't cut at all, maybe. I'm going to select that particular action. So for cut upwards, which is one, my action is I want to buy for this particular instrument out of the 20 instruments. And I would like to, if the crossover is downwards, then I would like to place a sell for this particular instrument, whichever is going on right now in the loop out of those 20 instruments. And if there is no action, I mean, if there is no crossover, then anyways, I'm not going to do anything because I have chosen to only act when my crossover is -1 or 1, which is crosses downwards or crosses upwards. Only then I will select, else I'm just going to skip. So when I skip, it will automatically go to the next instrument here. So I'll repeat again. The init is used for accepting parameters and for mentioning my variables. The initialize is used for cleanup because if you run it for 5 days, 10 days, then we want to clean up at the start of every day. And then there are four methods, two for entries, two for exits. We are talking about the first one right now, which is about selecting the instruments, whichever I want for entry. The entry could be a buy or a sell. So we can decide based on that. So this bucket is going to give me all those instruments and I'm going to loop over that and I'm going to decide if my crossover is cut upwards or downwards, then I choose them for a buy or a sell. Otherwise, I don't do anything. This is what we have talked about till now. If you guys have any questions or if I'm going too fast, please let me know. I'm continuing for now. Please interrupt me if required. Now, the first line inside this loop is using crossover. And this crossover is just some method that we have created. It's not required. As I said, we have four mandatory methods, two for entry, two for exit. But this crossover method is just something that this program is using. Even if this does not exist, it's okay. I could have just taken this whole thing and I could have applied it here itself. But just for the sake of clarity and the sake of readability, we have taken a method, created it outside, and we are asking the method, just tell us whether the crossover is 1, -1, or 0. So this particular line here is going to give me three values, 1, -1, or 0. 1 is crosses over, -1 crosses below, and 0, there is no crossover. This strategy is for EMA regular order. So what we are doing is calculating our two EMAs, and based on those, we are asking for a crossover. Now, at the init method, we have already accepted two time periods, EMA time period 1 and EMA time period 2. So let's say one of them is 7, one of them is 12 as an example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch the OHLC values for this particular instrument. And on those OHLC values, I'm going to select only one, which is the close. And I'm going to give the time period, which is either this one or this one. Right now it's the first one. And I'm going to say, calculate the first EMA. The package we are using is talib. So it's talib.ema with all of these arguments. And we directly get the EMA for this time period. Next, we are again calculating the EMA for the second time period. And third thing, we are passing the first EMA and the second EMA, and we are using an inbuilt function called as crossover. And we are saying, give me one of the three values. Either it's a 1, or it's a -1, or it's a 0. And once I get that, I'm going to return it, which I will receive here because I've called the method from here. So I've received my 1, or I've received my -1, or I have not received anything, which is a 0. Based on that, I will select. So out of the four methods, this is one of the methods wherein I am just doing the selection. So this part is just helping me with selection. Let's say I guess, okay, as an example, I'll say we have taken 20 instruments in the bucket, and let's say we were able to select 5. The rest of the 15 did not have any crossover. So the next step, what the engine is going to do is call the enter position 5 times, each time passing one instrument to us. So our selection revealed that we have 5 instruments, and our enter position will now get called 5 times. Each time we'll get one instrument, right? Now, I'm going back to the earlier method, which is selecting for entries. You can see here we have returned two values. One is which one of which ones out of them have gotten selected, and the second is what information we want to send about each of them. In this case, the information I just want to send is the action, whether it's a buy or a sell. That's all the information I want in this one for each of the selected instruments. So that's all we are doing right now. What will happen is if we have 5 instruments selected, then this is going to get called 5 times with that particular instrument and with its particular bit of information which contains the action and whatever that action is, whether it's a buy or a sell. So I'm going to get the instrument and its particular information. This
Sorry to
is a
interrupt.
very small. Yes,
Sorry
please.
to. Yes, I just had to just confirm what I'm understanding is correct. So the first, there are two entries and matlab two entries right now. The first entry would be just filtering out which stock has done that action particularly, and the second entry would be buying or selling. Is that correct?
So we are talking about two methods. Is that what
Uh,
you're asking?
yeah, there are four methods, and the first would be just filtering, and the second would be just actually buying or selling. That the action it is.
Correct. As a summary, this is correct.
All
So
right.
one of these methods is just for filtering, that is selecting the instruments. And the second is where we are actually placing the action, what we want. Correct.
Okay.
That's
Thanks.
correct.
All right. Thanks.
Also, this
Yes.
utils.crossover, like, so it's a built-in function or
Yeah, it's a built-in function. Yes. This is already available to us from the engine. We just have to use it and it will directly calculate the crossover for us and let us know.
all right, all right.
Yes, correct. You're right. It's a built-in function. Yes. Similarly, even this is a built-in function wherein we just say get the historical data and whatever instrument we pass, we'll get the proper OHLC values for that particular instrument. So we have one more built-in function here, which is about fetching the historical data. Yes, correct. Sorry. Okay. I'll go to the second method, which is about actually placing an order. As an example, we said that this might be called 5 times because 5 of them got selected. So what I want to do is call another function called as order regular, and I just want to place a particular order for that instrument. So at the start, we took a variable, which is main order map. What I want to do is store my orders in this for a very simple reason. During exiting, I would like to use this to pick up that particular order and just exit it if required. So for storage purposes, I'm using this particular variable. So as you can see here in enter position, I'm just saying variable. I'm giving a key because it's a key value pair, a dictionary, if you know about this. So I'm saying variable, I'm giving the key, which is the out of the 5, this is one of the instruments, and I'm saying place an order. There are some values here, but the first value is what you want to place an order on. The second value is whether it's a buy or a sell. Since I already have meta here and the same meta I've gotten here, I'm just accessing the action of that. As you can see here, I had saved it as action and then something. This is again a key value pair. So this is a key, this is a value. I'm doing the same thing here. So order regular is going to take some arguments. The first one is the instrument that I want to place an order on. The second, what kind of an order? Is it a buy or a sell? And the third one is quantity. Quantity is generally number of lots into lot size. For an equity strategy, the lot size is 1. And number of lots is going to come from here, which is the tweak config. So here we are going to give our 20 instruments as an example. Here we are going to give our candle. Let's say we want a 5-minute candle. We want our strategy to run on a 5-minute candle. And this is where we are going to give the number of lots. So let's say I say 5 lots. So that is 5 quantity for equity. So what will happen is this will place an order for 5 lots. 1 lot is equal to 1 quantity in case of equities. So 5 lots means 5 quantity in this case. So a buy or a sell will be done and I'm going to store that here. The next point is somewhat important. I'm going to return this order that I just placed, and I'm going to give it to the engine. The engine has called this method. So I am telling the engine that I have just placed an order. This is important. I'll tell you why. Now I'm proceeding to exits. The exit selection is the exact same as the entry selection. I'm still going to take a loop. I'm still going to calculate the crossover. And based on the crossover, I'm still going to say, okay, we are selecting this one for exit. The only extra line here is that I'm checking whether I already have an order for this particular instrument or not. This is for a very simple reason. I want to save computation. If for this particular instrument, I don't have any order saved, then I don't want to spend compute time in fetching the EMAs, calculating those EMAs, sorry, fetching the historical data. I'm so sorry, fetching the historical data, calculating the EMAs, calculating the crossover, checking whether the crossover exists or not. I don't want to waste so much compute if the order doesn't exist. So this is just one single line wherein I'm checking my own storage, that is main order map. If I have a particular order for it, then I know that I want to check whether I can exit it right now or not because of a reversal signal. So if above I was thinking that the crossover was 1, then right now I'm thinking whether the crossover is -1 for some reason. And then because of that, I'm going to try to select it for exit. All right. So this is an exact copy of the entry with a single extra line wherein I'm just checking whether I have a order for it or not. Otherwise, I want to save the compute. That's the only part here. And once those are selected, I'm going to say exit. So this if line is not required actually, because if something comes here, then it's supposed to be exited. However, this line has been mentioned here for a very special reason. Sometimes we do partial exits, sometimes we do complete exits. So this value that I'm passing here, I'm trying to check it here. Is it a complete exit? Yes, it is. So I'm just going to say exit position for that particular order that I have saved here. As well as I'm going to clean up my particular key value pair. Why am I doing the cleanup? Because in exit, I want this to come as none if the order has already gone away. So I'm setting it as none. As mentioned before, if the day changes, then already I'm cleaning up this whole variable completely. In that case, then this will not matter at the end of the day. At the end of the day, the next day will start. The next day will start. This whole variable will be cleaned up and it will be an empty dictionary. But during the day, I want to exit that particular order and then I want to set it to none so that this part of my logic continues to work properly. Now, as I said, we can use this method to sometimes have complete exits, to sometimes have partial exits. Here's the thing. If I have completely exited that particular instrument, I should return true. Who are we returning to? The engine, the core who is running this strategy. And in case I'm looking at partial exits, because my strategy is a bit complex, then I will return false. Let's say I have three exits, I have three quantities. I'm exiting one because of some condition. Then I'm exiting the second quantity because of the second condition. And then I'm exiting the remaining, which is the third one. What I'll do is I'll return false the first two times. And at the third time, where I know that the complete instrument is gone now, I'm going to return true. So this is for some future strategy where the logic is more complex. But as of right now, this is the meaning of both of these return statements. When I say true, I'm telling the engine this instrument is done from my end. And when I say false, I'm telling the engine retain the instrument at your end because more exits are going to come. So that is the implementation of exit. So these are the four methods which we use for entering and exiting. I don't have any delivery based strategies to show you right now over here, but I would like to say, I would like to point out one thing. Whenever we start the strategy, And we are saying, well, let's say we want 3 days of backtesting. Whenever I start the strategy at the very first time, let's say it's a 5-minute candle. Whenever a candle comes, what happens first is exit. And then what happens is the entry. This is because in delivery strategies, we get all the holdings and positions into this bucket. And based on that, we either set up our main orders from those buckets, because from the holdings or positions, or if there is nothing in the holdings or positions, then automatically we go back to entry. So I'll explain the same thing again, but in different words. What I want to say is, for every candle, exits are processed first, entries are processed later in the same candle. So in the same candle, whenever there's a new 5-minute candle which has just formed, what will happen is both of these exits will get called first, and both of these entries will get called immediately afterwards. So this is the architecture based on these four methods. So for a delivery strategy, this is something important. We want the exits to be processed first and then the entry. I'll go to the tweak panel. This is the tweak panel. I cannot change this for now. I'll have to save the strategy. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm closing the panel again and I'm saying save here. So it says that it has added it to my personal batch of strategies. So I'm saying continue. Sorry. Okay. So strategy has been saved successfully. Now this strategy is my own particular copy, and it is not the template which I was displaying earlier. Now, if I go back to this, I see that now I can change each of these values. The first value I can do is, let's say I can change this. I want it to be equity, yes, but let's say I want Tata Power or something. Let's see what does it show for Tata Power. Yes, so this is the one I want. I'll also take the previous one, which I just had, which is SBIN. So I'll take that. We can add a few more here. Let's say we want it for 20 instruments. We'll add 20. I've added 2, as you can see here. The next I'm deciding my candle. I want a 3-minute. I'm so sorry. I got a call. I've cut the call. So I can take a candle here, a 3-minute or a 5-minute or 60-minute or 30-minute. So let's say I want a 10-minute candle, and my mode is intraday because the strategy has been made based on intraday logic. I also want to set my two parameters. So since we have two EMAs, I'm saying one EMA is this, one EMA is this. Let's say if I change my code, if I add more parameters, then I can say add a new parameter from here, and I can do that. Once I click on save, I should be able to save. So as we said, we can give inputs to our strategy from outside. One of the inputs is time period 1 for one of the EMAs. Second is time period 2 for the second EMA. And when do we want each of these 4 methods to be executed, the candle time. So I could select it as 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute. We have done that. And finally, what do we want our bucket to be? How many instruments? So currently, we have selected 2. One is SBI and one is platform. So this is how the particular architecture for a strategy looks like. I would like to take a pause here. Do you have any doubts or questions?
Thank you so much. Like it was a really beautiful explanation. I just have a question that in case of partial exit, so it will be a manual exit, I suppose.
Manual?
Manual as in if I have an algo that I've created, now if I
Hmm.
want a partial exit, like I want to exit at some point of time that like
Hmm.
I want to exit just before after the like before the code will execute an sell order, like an exit order. So it is for that purpose, so that the person who is handling the strategy can exit on his own.
Okay, I've understood your question. Let me attempt to answer it, and please tell me if it answers your question. Okay. So what we are aiming here is for almost complete automation, wherein we ask the user or the client what he wants, and we try to implement the whole thing here from decision making to order placement, checking the order whether it is in trigger pending, cancellation, cancelled, placed, completed, whatever, and then taking the next decisions based on that. So cancellation of an order, exiting the position, checking the order status, all automation, we are doing it here. As you also know, we are going to tell the user to please connect his broker here, bind his broker here, such that these order placements directly go into that broker, right? Now, the point is, let's say the user says, whenever condition one happens, exit one third, and then when condition two happens, exit the other one, the one out of one third, one third, one third, exit the second one, and whenever the third condition happens, whatever is remaining, exit all of that. So in this case, as per the logic that the client has given, these would count as partial exits. Out of the three, the first two are partial exits. The third one is a complete exit. So in exit position, as I said, I'm not just going to check for exit. I may use some extra logic. So in my selection of instruments, I would say, let's say partial exit, maybe, or partial exit one, maybe, partial exit one, partial exit two, partial exit three. So as soon as I get partial exit one, I'll exit one third, and I'll say return false because my instrument is not done yet. When I get partial exit two from here, I'll exit the second one, and I'll still say false because my instrument is not done yet. And when I get partial exit three, I will check for partial exit three, but this time I'll return true because I know for partial exit three, my instrument is done completely. So I I hope I was somehow able to answer your question. If not, then I would like you to rephrase it.
Yes, thank you so much. Like it's clear now.
It's clear? Oh, okay. So I'd still like to take another pause and ask if we have any more questions.
I just do like to revisit on the fact that, as we have mentioned, that there were two cases that always the exit comes first and the entries comes afterwards. Can you revisit on the fact why does that happen? Like, why does it need to happen?
Yes. So I'll just repeat that part again. We have four methods here, two for entries and two for exits, based on whether the strategies are in delivery mode. In delivery mode, what we mean is there are already some instruments present in the broking account, and we would like to pick those up and continue. What do we mean by picking those up and continuing? So right now we explained how we are storing, how we are placing an order and how we are storing it in this particular variable. So in a delivery strategy, as soon as the day starts, I want to pick up all the instruments which are there in the broking account, and I want to convert them into main orders. And that is going to happen in exit because those orders are already present. That is how it makes sense, as if that we have already placed those orders. So in this bucket, which is about selecting instruments for exit, in this bucket, I am going to get the orders for all those instruments, and I can directly continue to check whether I want to do something for those first before going for the entries. That is why for every candle, let's say we take a 5-minute candle. So every 5 minutes, we always process exits first. And based on whatever our funds are released because we have done the exits, whatever gets retrieved, then we continue with the entries. So this is going to happen for every candle during the whole day.
All right, understood. Thank you so much.
Right. Do we have more questions for now? I'm minimizing this. You can have a look at this architecture here. Okay, let me take 2 minutes. For every template that we have given some data here, some information here. This information is about that specific strategy. In this case, this is EMI order or some general docs, general information like how does crossover work, how do we fetch historical data, and other things. the general information which we require everywhere is also given here. I've already opened Algo trading here. Let it just load itself. Yes, so this is Algo trading. In this we have strategies. In this we have the general strategy guide, and we also have the guide for all the regular strategies and all the option strategies. So if you remember here, we had gone into Phoenix. Should I save? Yes, I'll save. I'll just save this. Yes, we have gone into Phoenix. And the Phoenix, we have said explore the ready templates. And as we saw at the very start, we have some options related strategies and we have some normal strategies like this one, which are equity based. So here in the guide, you can see regular strategies, which are all of these, which are equity based. And you can also see the option strategies. So these are the option strategies. What this will help is understanding how the implementation of a particular option strategy works, or a general strategy guide, which actually gives us the whole explanation. So as I had explained, we have 4 core loop methods, and based on those 4 core loop methods, we can do the rest. We have other information here. What does init do? What does initialize do? What are the rest of the strategy? What are the rest of the methods? So this is select instruments for entry, which I've just explained. Basically, what I've done is essentially give a walkthrough of this document. What I've done essentially is explain the strategy by using this document. So anything that you require for any of the templates is here. And based on these templates, then you can try your own equity or option strategies. You can also have a look at the code of the strategy given separately. You can have a look at the structure. You will be even be able to run your particular strategy using the Jupyter notebook. So it's not necessary that you have to come here. You can download that Jupyter notebook and test this particular template anyways. Sorry, I'll just go back. Where are my coded strategies? So these are my coded strategies. I'll go here. The first one should be mine. Yes, so this one. Yes. And can I see my 2 instruments? Yes, so this is the one because I had already added 2 instruments here. So this is the one that I had just saved. So all of the information is already here in these documents and you'll be able to use it properly. Shall I run this? Do we want to see a backtest?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if I have a data source. If I don't, then I'm sorry, I won't be able to backtest. Okay, I do have a data source. So that's great. What do I need to change? I want to keep SBI. Okay, I'll just keep SBI. I'll take a 60-minute candle. Time period is 702. That's okay. So I'll just save this. Yes, that's done. I'll select the time duration. So let's say it's from 4th December 9:15. I want to run till 8th, till 3:15. I'll say okay. Right now, the number of lots I'm choosing it as one only, and I'm not setting any PNL tracker. I'm sure if you have explored the platform, then you know what this does. This is a blanket check on the profits and losses that are happening inside the strategy based on whatever we are buying and selling. So based on the number of buys and the number of sells that are happening during the whole day, if I cross my profits, let's say by 10,000, or if I cross my risk by let's say 2,000, sorry, I want to stop this strategy. If that is what I want, then this is my blanket PNL that I'll be able to give. So the strategy will continue to do what it does, but the core, the engine is going to utilize these values and continuously look at the strategy whether any of these are getting breached. Based on whether the profit breaches or the risk breaches, it will give the appropriate information and it will stop. As of right now, I don't want this because I want it to actually run for 4 days, and then let's have a look at what's happening. If I have changed anything in the code behind, I don't think I have, but while showing if I have pressed an extra character or if I might have done something, then my backtest will not work and it should show me the appropriate error messages. Otherwise, it should continue to run. So my assumption is that I have not done any mistakes while demonstrating the code. So let me just go ahead and click on backtest. So while this works, let me try to see if I can show you the strategy boot. Sorry, there's some lag. If already my 4 days of testing is done from 4th December to 8th December, then I should see that data here. But I guess I have some data issues because of which a simple website Google is also not opening. So please give me a moment. Yes. So I guess the 4 days of testing was done, and this is what I see. So this is the analytics part. This is the data part. I leave the exploring of both of these to you. But one thing I would like to highlight is there is something called as logs. And these logs are actually a wealth of information. Once your code is, experiencing problems, or if it is displaying some issues or errors, then this common log is the best way to study and understand what is wrong with your code. So I just want to highlight that. This is something that can be downloaded also. If I click on download, then this will get downloaded and you should be able to look at it step by step. Wherever the crossover has happened, wherever it has not happened, you should be able to check it out. So this is what is something that is very important. You can download this. You can also maximize this. But sorry, I still have some lag at my end. I'm not able to click on things. Okay, so that's my download button. If I save, then it gets saved. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to highlight. Let's say you do have some problems with the strategy, with your code, then under runtime errors, you should be able to see that particular error and then you should be able to fix it. The best way of coding, the best way of writing your algorithm is to ensure that you have a lot of prints into these programs. What they will help you is to focus on each print and see till where the strategy was able to continue and after that where it stopped. So if I go to this button here, which is general information, I'll be able to see a lot of things. One of these things is how to print something. So this is a simple line here, self.logger.info. I'll be able to give a string and I'll be able to give one, two, three, or four variables, whichever I want. And I can print my information and check whether things are working. One of the things that we also want to do is print the OHLC values and see whether the historical data is something that agrees with one of the charting platforms that we might be using as a reference. So to print the historical data, this is also given. You'll be able to print your historical data like this. There are some packages that are already here, and there are some common errors that have been explained here. All of this, whatever information is given here, along with these two links, should be able to kickstart you, at least with the basic architecture and other things, for creating any strategy. And then you can explore the analytics as well as the data part, and you can see what all information is being given here. So this is my PNL, this is my distribution, daily monthly returns, gross ROI, trading volume, total trades, etc. etc. So since I've run it for just 4 days, this information is it seems incomplete, but it's actually complete. But if I let's say if I run it for 6 months or something, then you will get a wealth of information and you will be able to analyze the performance of your strategy based on these values. So in a way, I'm done. I can conclude the session, but I'd like to have your questions, please, if any. No questions? All good to go?
Yeah, Akhil. Akhil, it would be great if you can go on explain on how we can use a developer option which we have in AlgoBulls, right? We have a developer option where we can link our Jupyter notebook directly.
Okay.
So if you can explain on that part,
One question to you,
yeah.
Tripunji. Uh, have you or anyone from your team members executed a Jupyter notebook before from here?
No, no, from here we didn't do that. So you're asking.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll see if I'm able to open this here because it might take a lot of time. Hold on. I'll even try a view option. This might take a long time, so let me keep it for opening. I'll go back here. I'll go back to settings. Yeah. Under settings, I'll go in developer options, which is here. Under developer options, I'll just remove this button. This shows me an alphanumeric string.
Yeah,
This alphanumeric string I'm going to use inside these Jupyter notebooks. And then if I run this Jupyter notebook step by step, what it is going to do is use your key to implement and run this strategy inside your account. So that's all that developer option is going to do. But let's see if I'm able to open that here and show it to you. Okay, so the viewer is open, I guess. This one still going on. So this is a viewer, and this is where you need to add that key. And that's all. And just execute this step by step, step by step, step by step, and you will be able to see the logs here. As simple as that. So this is how you can use developer options. Is the
okay.
second one open?
Yeah, I don't know if it's
Screen is taking is long time. Okay.
okay.
So as simple as that. I mean, this is as good as this is a whole ready-made. Everything is perfectly running. All you have
Okay,
to do is just implement the key here. That's all.
okay. Also, Akhil, can you tell us about using NumPy, Pandas, and Skitlan here in the notebook if we can use it?
I don't have a working example for you,
Okay,
Rimonji. However, I can say based on what I showed you just now, hold on, that Pandas, NumPy, and scikit-learn is already available to you.
okay,
You should be able to use it. Let me just go back again. Where is my good strategy? This one. Where is okay? I've lost my strategy. I guess it was this one, maybe. Yeah, so this general information button, this tells us that Talib, Pandas, and NumPy is already available for us to use.
Okay.
And I'll ensure that here scikit-learn is also added here so
Okay.
that you'll be able to run it directly.
So we can directly implement the functions and the functions of skitlearn, numpys, and pandas from the notebook, right? We can perform
Yes,
the mathematical operation, linear regression, and if I want to perform other mathematical operations which can be done with numpys, pandas, and skitlearn, that should we will be able to do and create a strategy
yes,
out of it, right?
100%.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yes,
Also, can you go to Jupyter Notebook?
yes,
So here, once I create the imported strategy from in strategy creation, there we have to code the strategy, right, for the whatever strategy we are making.
yeah. So the assumption is that you have this Jupyter notebook downloaded on your
Okay.
machine,
Okay.
and what you do is create a blank text file and you add your strategy code inside that.
In a
Now here I,
Okay.
I'm importing from strategy pool.
Okay.
That's why I'm doing a wget
Okay.
from my GitHub repo, and
Okay.
then I'm using it. But
Okay.
in your case, you should be able to directly use it. So
Do
you
I
can
need to
just say
create a
this.
I need to create text file first, or like I didn't get it.
Yeah, yeah. This file, if you create in the same folder where you
Okay.
have this Jupyter notebook, in
Okay.
this file, yeah, this py file, you already have your code as per the
Okay.
architecture that we just discussed,
Okay.
and then you'll be able to just say from, and you'll be able to use it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nakshat, you have any questions you can ask on this part because we are going to work on it.
yeah. Anywhere you get stuck, either Nakshatra ji or Tribhuvan ji or whoever is trying, just ping me or ping Pushpak, and I'll immediately jump on a call with you and get it sorted. No
Okay.
issues.
Hello, Nakshat, are you there?
I'm there.
Hello, Nakshatra. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So कोई भी question you can
Uh,
just ask if you have any questions on this particular thing because we are going to use it.
uh, uh, as I can see, like we are fetching the strategy that is already saved in our account. So, is that so, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, your AlgoBulls
Sure.
account, when you create a strategy, it gets saved into your account, and then you will be able to add some instrument on it, give the parameters whatever you want, and then you will be able to just say connection.backtest along with the candle and the parameters that we've just decided, the lots, whatever we used to do from the config panel here. Now, whatever we used to do from here, we'll be able to do it from the Jupyter notebook. So the candle size, the mode, the instruments, everything is given in this part here, and you just say connection.backtest, and
What
this
if
will
we
backtest
don't
the
have any
instrument.
parameter on candle, but it's based on a score like a Z score, where Z score for a mean reversion strategy, because we are not considering candle but a score on the time series data.
The strategy won't be candle based.
No, no, it is not candle based. It's based on time series data. So we are getting a time series data and we are calculating few parameters and few scores. And if we, so it's like like with Z score is this much, the strategy will say long. If the Z score is this much, it will go short based on the time series data and the parameters we are computing based on that time series data. So it will not be candle based.
I'll have to ask Pushpak because all of these Jupyter notebooks are based on a candle based strategy.
Okay.
So if you could give me a short paragraph or one or two, three lines based on what you're trying to achieve, I'll talk to Pushpak and come back to you.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Nakshatra ji, would you like to continue your question or did I answer it?
Uh, uh, the previous question was like it's clear. Thank you so much for that. Uh, I
Okay.
just have a second question that like can I access the data like if I want to calculate something manually from the data itself? So can I do it
Yes.
through Jupyter Notebook or something?
Jupyter Notebook, yes. I'd rather take you back to the strategy. So this strategy is in the form of a py file, which will be imported by a Jupyter Notebook. And just like this method here, get crossover value, you should be able to take the historical data, which is in this line, and you can add any mathematical formulas that you want to based on your NumPy, pandas, and your scikit-learn. You should be able to calculate anything that you require here. So your py file should take care of the rest. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess this is what you meant.
Yeah, this is what I meant. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
All right, then I hope all the doubts are done right now. Nakshatra ji, Tribhuvan ji, are there any doubts remaining right
No,
now?
no. So basically, once the strategy is saved based on whatever we have coded, okay, then we can it will show in our save strategy. Okay, and then it's like a
Yes.
regular thing. We can select the what we say. We can select the instrument and then we can run it.
Yes. So even if you do it through a Jupyter notebook,
Yeah.
anyways, the strategy is going to be saved and you will be able to see it here.
Okay.
Now, the Jupyter notebook is already able to say
Yeah.
connection.backtest and it should
Okay.
backtest. But in case you want to view it here and click save and start from here, even
Okay.
you are good to go from that way also. But
Can I
otherwise,
to Jupyter Notebook? So basically, in this
yes,
again to import strategy part, right? Go again, go to import strategy part.
yes,
See,
yeah,
so here you are getting it from a PY algo strategy pool, right? Import strategy from PY. So what if I
yeah,
have
yeah.
a
I'm getting from the
strategy?
GitHub repo.
Yeah, I feel what if I have a
Hmm.
strategy which I've coded and it is based
Hmm.
on something like linear regression, okay? And
Yeah,
do
yeah.
I need to say put it in a text file like you said? I have to put that text file here.
Either the strategy is on a GitHub repo, wherein
Okay,
this becomes your text file or your py file,
okay,
or you have created a simple .py file using your local text editor and
okay,
saved it at the same place, let's say wherever you are
okay,
using this Jupyter
okay,
notebook.
okay. Got it, got it. Okay, okay,
Yeah. And then either we say connection.backtest from here, or I guess we just save the strategy in the Jupyter and then we can go back here and you can use this to start and run the strategy.
All right. Um, so I hope we are done with this session. We can conclude it.
okay. Nakshat, you have any questions?
No, like
So, Nakshatra ji, Tribhuvan ji, if you get any questions while you start with this, just feel free to ping Pushpak or Yash or me, and I'll try to get the support to you as soon as possible.
Yes. We will surely reach you out if
thank you
you
so
have any.
much.
Okay, okay, okay. Sure.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. So I hope we are concluded with this session right now. And Akhil sir, thank you so much for this informative session. We just learned about all the entry, exits, and the calls and the filters that are added while we are selecting a particular instrument, how they are used in particular, and everything about particular engine and how we can solve the doubts of the engine as well. Not only that, we also got to know how we can use the logs itself and also a lot of information regarding AlgoBulls and its development strategies. This was a really informative session. Thank you so much, Akhil sir. And I hope with this we can just conclude a session of strategy development demo.